The year is 1985, and more than 1 billion people are sitting in their homes watching Queen perform at the Live Aid Festival. Brian May fills the entire Wembley Stadium with his huge guitar sound and iconic riffs and solos. With him is his most valuable and precious instrument, a guitar that is already more than 20 years old. That is, the Red Special. In 1963, Brian May and his father Harold decided to begin a project together. Their mission was to build an electric guitar completely from the ground up, turning all of Brian's ideas into reality. There were two reasons for this project. First, the cost of available guitars was excessively high, and the family couldn't afford them. Second, tremolo arms were popular at the time, which often caused neck bending due to extra strain. Brian wanted a truss rod that was genuinely adjustable to ensure the neck was perfectly stressed. Additionally, since tremolos often didn't return to their original position, risking the guitar going out of tune, he needed a solution that would restore tuning accurately. The body was made from various types of wood they found around the house, like blockboard. It was then covered with mahogany veneer and featured white bound edges made from shelf edging. Finally, it was stained with mahogany dye to give it a richer reddish color. The neck of the guitar was made from an old fireplace mantle that was about 100 years old. The part that takes the strain is a square section of oak, onto which the mahogany neck is bolted. The rest of the body is made of a softer wood and includes some acoustic pockets. All the parts were closely coupled together, screwed and glued, so the whole thing acts as one resonator. The bridge is similar to the Micromatic. You can change the string length of individual strings to compensate for wear and tear on the strings and to keep the octaves exactly right. But the added feature is that each one of the little separate bridges is a roller. So when you move the tremolo arm, they roll with the string. You don't get any string wear that way. Thus, they keep their tone for a long time and don't break at the bridge. The tremolo arm was made from a bicycle luggage rack, and the tip of the arm was covered with a large knitting needle that Brian found in his mother's knitting supplies. Regarding the pickups, Brian May admitted in a 1983 Guitar Player interview that both he and his father made the original pickups. While they sounded good, they had one major flaw due to a problem with the pole pieces, so he decided to buy pickups from Burns, an English guitar brand. Another peculiar detail of the Red Special is that it has 6 different switches. The top 3 allow you to enable or disable each of the 3 pickups, while the bottom 3 switches let you invert the polarity and change the phase of each pickup. This results not only in a wide range of options to explore, but also in a very distinctive sound. The best example of a song in which Brian fully utilizes his guitar is Bohemian Rhapsody. In the book Brian May's Red Special, co-written with Simon Bradley, he admits that while he used various combinations throughout Queen's catalog, Bohemian Rhapsody features almost all possible combinations within a single song. In 1996, Greg Fryer, an Australian luthier, contacted Brian May's management with a proposal to build Brian the most accurate replica of his guitar to date, so precise that he could use it as a backup. That same year, he met with Brian to discuss the project. By late 1997, Greg had built 3 Red Special replicas. He traveled to Brian's studio near London to present them, and the feedback he received was excellent. Greg returned home with one of the guitars, while the other 2 remained with Brian, one as a backup, and the other was designated for songs that required drop D tuning, such as Fat Bottom Girls. Brian liked the replicas so much that he trusted Greg with an even bigger task, restoring the original Red Special. As Greg recalls on his own website, in December 1997, Brian decided that it was the right time for us to take apart his Red Special guitar and begin some long-needed repairs. Brian paid me the most wonderful compliment in saying that he was happy to use my 3 guitars to complete the recording of his album Another World, whilst we took apart and repaired his own Red Special. The Red Special was in need of repairs to many areas, although considering that the guitar had been used solidly for over 30 years of live playing around the world, it was also in surprisingly good overall shape, especially given the extremes of temperature and humidity that it would have encountered. Harold and Brian had made a very solid and dependable instrument. Brian's guitar tech, Pete Melandrone, told me that the Red Special had hardly been touched repair-wise during its 30-odd years of playing around the world, something that again validated the quality of its build. By the way, I highly recommend anyone interested in more specific details about the restoration to visit Greg Fryer's website. The photos you see, along with many more, can be found there, along with very interesting, in-depth information. The link can be found in the description. Check the Google Doc with all the sources. With Greg's testimony, we can see that the Red Special is not only a unique guitar thanks to its design and electronic development, but its build quality is also impressive, especially when we remember that this guitar was made by Brian and Harold at their home. The Red Special has accompanied Brian May for literally 60 years as of the time of this video recording, considering that the guitar was finished in 1964. Throughout this journey, the Red Special has been part of several iconic albums, concerts, and events. One of the most memorable ones was when he performed on the roof of Buckingham Palace in 2002. Brian recalls in an interview with The Guardian, standing on the roof of Buckingham Palace, live, without a safety net, in front of 1 billion people watching on TV. Nothing could ever quite top that, really, for sheer management of terror. It's hard to function, you have so much fear, and it was the whole opening of the Golden Jubilee, so everything depended on it. If it had gone wrong, I would have forever been the guy who messed it up. I had to give myself a very good talking to. My strategy was this thing they teach you in depression clinics, which is to abandon yourself to a higher power, whether it's God or whatever. You just concentrate on the things that you can actually control. So, I practiced, I did some rehearsals with the orchestra, but I had to do it live. You couldn't fake something like that. If I had, I would have forever been the guy who faked it. It was all real and all live, and I will never ever forget it. The adrenaline was incredible. Brian May and his Red Special have influenced many guitar players around the world. Their influence is undeniable. They complement each other perfectly. However, the Red Special has a unique vibe that truly sets it apart as iconic. It's not just another custom Les Paul, Stratocaster, or Telecaster. It's something different. This uniqueness, combined with the extensive history of the guitar and the long journey it has taken, is what gives it its legendary status. I found 2 anecdotes that clearly represent this point. James Hetfield talked about the day he and Kirk Hammett played the original Red Special. They were backstage after attending a Queen show when they met Brian's roadie, who had a guitar case on his back. That guitar was indeed the Red Special. After receiving permission from Brian, both he and Kirk played it. As James recalls, "I'm jamming on Brian May's Old Girl, the original guitar that him and his dad made when he was 18 years old, and he still has it on tour and still plays it every night. It was spectacular." So we all got to play Brian's guitar. Just a super memorable and redundantly unforgettable moment. Another story that showcases Brian's unique gear and the synergy between him and his guitar comes from Joe Satriani, who explained in an interview with Music Radar. Brian's got a composing style that you notice right away. His guitar style is famous along with his gear. That famous guitar from the fireplace mantle that he and his dad built. I've played it, and unfortunately, I don't sound anything like Brian when I play that guitar. Only Brian sounds like that. The Red Special is not just another guitar. The Red Special is its own thing, and that's exactly what makes it stand out. The guitar is unique not only because of its original design, but also because it complements the vision and style of its creator, and it does that job perfectly. As Brian states in the book, Brian May's Red Special, "The Red Special never let me down. I could always find in it the voice I needed.